Oh, that's a great ball. Oh, it had to be. Haaland.
Overlap! Nketiah! He's got the big chance. He's got the big chance. And it's Salah for Liverpool.
Switching gears now and focusing on the Premier League action this weekend. Manchester City against Chelsea. Big question around this is, will City seal that Premier League title, or can Chelsea spoil the party? Of course, the scenario is very simple for Manchester City. Win this game at home and they'll be crowned Premier League champions, their third straight title, their fifth title in 6 years. Andy, I'm struggling to find any way that City aren't going to win this game given their recent form. Yeah. Given Chelsea's struggles for multiple months, basically the entire season now. But kind of a weird one, right? Given how good City were against Real Madrid. It's a bit of a, not a come down, but just a bit of a different situation for them to manage now against Chelsea. But the way they've been rotating the squad expertly, they want to get this done and dusted, right? The first leg of a potentially historic treble. So it's got to be a City win.
Yeah, they'll just look to bring in Phil Foden, Riyad Mahrez, and maybe Julian Alvarez into the starting 11, to try to do that. It's a pretty good situation to have, and to see Pep bring those players off the bench in the second leg, by the way, against Real Madrid up 2-0, to go up 3-0 and then 4-0 eventually at the end was just, it felt unfair. And that's the way the Premier League has felt a lot of this, I guess, during City's strong run to kind of finish out the season. We've said it already this week when we're kind of talking about just the historic context of what this team is doing. They're not just doing it with wins. They're not just doing it, by scoring more goals and having more points than everybody in the league. They're doing it with such a style and such a dominance that I think we've come to expect from them. But we shouldn't let that take away from the fact that it is still so dominant. Like, that is the minimum expectation for Manchester City, and they continue to live up to it every single game, every single season, it seems, under Pep. And so, to see them win it at home would obviously be nice. You always want to see it happen in front of the fans, and to have that big joyous moment. And also, I think it sets them up perfectly to have, about a week and a half or 2 weeks between potentially winning the title against Chelsea, and then the FA Cup final, and then the Champions League final, so that it's not in such quick succession. I would be curious to see how a team in the modern day game, given all the scientific data and everything, and the medical data that we have, and the intensity of the game now these days, how a team would handle 3 essentially finals in a week's time, the way that it was for Manchester United back in 1999 when they went on and they won their treble as well. So City might have a little bit of a luxury if they can get it done this weekend, and I think they do. I mean, you guys have seen Chelsea play recently. What is there from Frank Lampard's team that can even dream of slowing down this City team? I don't see it.
Yeah, you said we've seen Chelsea play. I don't know if they've really been playing. I don't know what they've been doing out there. I don't think they know either. That's the problem. But City could actually win the title without kicking a ball this weekend, because if Arsenal lose at Nottingham Forest on Saturday, then they'll already be champions and there'll be a big party atmosphere at the Etihad. I just wanted to point that out. But Nick, when you look at City, the dominance, the way that they've found their top gear at the perfect time of the season, what percentage chance do you give them of securing this historic treble? Obviously, we know there's different games, different finals, the fact that Man United are going to want to stop them from winning the treble and the extra motivation that gives them, so it doesn't, overshadow their exploits and their incredible historic season in '99. So there's a lot going on here, but Andy mentioned it. If they can wrap this up this weekend, they have a bit of a rest. They can just kind of get guys up to speed, and then they've got that historic run of 2 cup finals, back-to-back weekends to try and finish off this treble. But what percentage chance are you giving right now of doing this?
I want to say a little better than 2/3. I'm going to go 70%. I was going to go 67, but I think it's a little bit better than that. And here's why. I think they're going to win the league. It's kind of an afterthought. Manchester United has a puncher's chance, but still isn't built depth-wise, talent-wise, top-end-wise to meet them at their best, to meet City at its best. And then it comes down to Inter Milan, which I think is the real wild card. And frankly, I wonder, you have to celebrate every trophy. We know Pep will do that. how do you react to having 2 trophy celebrations in a row? I just think the standard is so hard to maintain that would be the achievement. And I do want to point out also, when we talk about the achievement that this is, you can look at Kyle Walker earlier this year, John Stones last year, Kevin De Bruyne even for a short period of time, Aymeric Laporte on the bench. These are all players, world-class players, who at some point have been pivotal pieces but have rotated in and out and not quit, with the exception of João Cancelo, who went to Bayern Munich. People have understood where they fit here, and that's why I think I back them. I back them to win all 3 games, because everybody seems bought in. How they would react in August, that's another story.
Yeah, that's true. The total team effort and a unit, and the way that they've come in and out of the lineup has been incredible to see. And just, people like Mahrez, like I'm a Premier League guy, maybe I'm not a Champions League starter, and Bernardo Silva, and you mentioned it there. Akanji, Stones, Diaz have just been exceptional defensively as they figured out that new system in recent weeks and months. So I'm going to go with like 80%, I think, Andy. I think that's the percentage I'd give it. I was maybe even going to go a little bit higher, because maybe I'm just, taken by the way they dismantled Real Madrid and taken that a little bit too high. But I'm with Nick. The only real issue, I think, is the final against Inter Milan. And we all know Pep's overthought things in the past, and Inter can, on their day, they've got those players that can turn up on the counter and hurt teams. But I mean, what's your percentage chance for City?
Champions League is the one that you guys have the most question about, because to me it's FA Cup, and it is the fact that it's United City. It's the fact that United can stop the treble. That they are effectively defending for the club's honor from 1999, and it just feels like they're going to have that circled on the calendar. Obviously, I mean, it's a cup final at Wembley. You always want to win that game, but it feels like there's going to be a little bit of extra motivation for that team. And whether or not they finish third, whether they finish fourth, maybe they slip out and they fall into fifth place by the end of the Premier League season, that's their Champions League final right there. And so they are going to be up for that game with a game plan and an approach and a setup that is going to make life, I think, pretty difficult for Manchester City in that game. Now, City obviously have the talent advantage and just the total domination that they've shown for large portions of this season. But we have seen, and especially against United, if they come out and they set up correctly and they get in there defensively and they just make life a little bit difficult, you can make you can shorten a 90-minute game effectively, because when you have to play 90 minutes against City, it feels like 6 hours when you're out there on the field, because it's just constantly chasing. But if you can slow the game down and you can make it a little bit choppy, you can make it a little bit of a defensive battle, you can shorten that game and make it feel like it's not quite as long, and you give yourself an opportunity. I think United more so than Inter, through familiarity and also just what is on the line in terms of the treble. I think they'll give them a real challenge in the FA Cup final. I think City will win it ultimately. I think City will win all 3, but I don't know that I wouldn't go 80, and I don't know that I would quite go 70%. I'd probably say like 60% at this point, because one of those two finals goes to extra time or maybe a shootout, and they really, really have to dig deep and grind one of them out.
Wow, there you go. I didn't expect us to be that far off on our different percentages there. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's not easy to do this, obviously, for City, but they are on the cusp of greatness, and the way they're playing right now, they're going to go really close to sealing this historic treble. Nick, what are they going to do this weekend, prediction-wise, against Chelsea?
Yeah, it's hard to predict them, even with the specter of Chelsea looming, in terms of who they are and what they can do. I think it's set up for them to beat Chelsea, win the league, play everybody else against Brighton, and then have a warm-up game essentially against Brentford to get ready for their 2 finals. So I think the opportunity to seize their destiny on Sunday is I don't know, it's almost unpredictable. It would almost be unfathomable to think that they don't show up. And if they show up, I think they win. I
think so as well. I'm probably going to go 3-1 to City. I think something like that. I think Chelsea might get a goal on the break, because at this point they're just going for it as individuals, it seems, most weeks. But maybe Raheem Sterling getting another goal back against City. Andy, what are you thinking? Easy home win?
Yeah, I want to say a big one as well, that it just turns into an absolute party after the second or the third or the fourth goal goes in. A lot what we saw against Real Madrid. There seems an inevitability about this City team that it can't be stopped.
Yeah, I agree with that. Inevitable right now, Man City. That's the best word to sum them up, I think, when it comes to winning week after week and the kind of run that they're on. So head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for the latest news, how to watch information, preview, live analysis and video on Man City against Chelsea. Again, the equation is simple for City. Win at home against Chelsea on Sunday and they'll be crowned Premier League champions in front of their own crowd. And all they have to do is just take the trophy out of the cabinet up in the Etihad Stadium, dust it off, put a couple more blue ribbons on it, and then hoist it for a third straight season and for the fifth time in the last 6. So let's see if they can do